lives, Kale.
I don't know. It is the 73rd episode. Oh my god. It is the Super Clash podcast, a podcast about shorter games. It is episode 73. I'm your host, Kale.
Hey, dude, how the hell are you? It's Connor.
It's been a terrible week.
Oh, well.
And I know it's been a terrible week for you too, because we talked about it at dinner.
I was gonna just try to mask it and put on a smile, but
nope. We're wearing our hearts on our sleeves tonight.
oh, okay. I'm gonna go cry deeply in a pillow
Well,
then.
oh, here's the thing. The last weekend was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good.
We did a scavenger hunt, an Alice in Wonderland themed scavenger hunt that took place in downtown Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun, and we had some dinner. Then we watched a anime called Ghost Stories.
So good.
For those who don't know, the anime Ghost Stories premiered in Japan in probably the early to mid 2000s.
Like 2004.
Yeah. And from what I heard, the anime did not perform well in Japan. And so when the time came for an English release, the creator said, you know what? You can do whatever you want with it, just as long as you keep the main plot intact. And so what you got was basically lightning in a bottle. All the voice actors basically improvised their lines, and so it became a hilariously mean-spirited show
with a lot of dark humor. It's not for people who are very sensitive with their humor.
No, there's a character. I don't know who she was originally supposed to be in the original show, but in this one, she is like a fundamentalist evangelical Christian.
Oh yeah, and then you got the Jewish kid too.
Yes,
who's very a stereotypical Jewish person.
Yes, I knew there was some magic here when you first meet the Christian, and she's like, "Have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior?" She says it so fast and based almost under her breath. But
you know why she says it so fast, right? It's because they're trying to match the lip flaps, but trying to get all of that across.
Right.
There was a point in time in that show where the character just goes, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how they match these lip flaps, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're just super meta with it.
Oh, man.
There was a really, really racist one that was I'm not even going to say too much on
save it.
But it was they were mocking how Japanese people speak, which is very on the nose with the fact that it's a Japanese show. It was it was messed up.
And a lot of political jokes too. One of the first political jokes that you have in that show is when they walk into the haunted school and they hear all these noises. The main character goes, "Don't worry, Ghost only gets bad people like Republicans."
Yes,
it's just and that's when I knew. Well, I guess with the fundamentalist Christian too. That's when I knew that this was something special.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious, man. And it only gets funnier as you go along. And the funny part is while not all the jokes land because they're almost 20-year-old jokes, some of them are very topical and on point with right now. I don't want to spoil it, but man, there's one that I was talking about it earlier. I was like, I can't wait until you hear this.
We're gonna watch some after this recording. I am so excited. I haven't seen any of the episodes since you went home last weekend because this show, you would probably find it funny on your own, but it is 20 times funnier if you have a group.
Oh yeah.
If you have a group of friends. Get drunk, get high, and just watch this show.
I tell you, there were so many times when we were watching it together that I had to look over to confirm that I had heard what I really heard.
The one joke that the fundamentalist Christian makes about a conversion camp.
Yes.
I looked over to your wife. Your wife was wide-eyed, mouth agape, total silence, just stunned silent.
Oh yeah.
I'm like
it's I don't even want to say that it's really a show that most people would like because it's like South Park level of humor.
Yes.
Like early South Park level humor. So like
Mhm.
they make fun of like everyone.
Mm-hmm. But if South Park is your humor, Ghost Stories is on Crunchyroll right now. I don't know if it's been on Crunchyroll, or maybe it was just a new edition.
I have no idea.
But I don't know how long it's going to be on Crunchyroll. So watch it while you can. If it seems like your cup of tea,
It's a gem of a show.
it really is. So, also tonight, we'll be talking about, as you can tell by the title, Ghostwire Tokyo.
Hey.
And I'm not gonna say it because due to like some mental health things, Connor and I are gonna kind of take a break from Let's Get Physical for a while, just to kind of deal with our mental health.
Yeah, I think if we have enough people who really want it back or actually really enjoyed that segment, we can bring it back. But it was just a little bit of time consuming to keep up with it all, and the fact that like I personally am taking a little break from social media, but social media was kind of how I kept up with a lot of the releases. So, you know, if it means a lot to you, we can try to like bring it back in some way. But, you know, I think if it was something that people were just kind of lukewarm on, it's fine.
I did find out like a lot of really cool games through Let's Get Physical, but if it means like to help your mental health, then so be it, you know.
Yeah, and I definitely did not have time for it this week.
No, because oh my god,
I one of our cars, my wife's car, decided to rack up $4,000 worth of engine trouble, just out of the blue. Didn't even have high mileage on it, and we ended up having to spontaneously buy a car we didn't expect to buy. So we had to buy a new car, sell the old one. And so, yeah, I was dealing with a lot of stress the past 2 days. And unfortunately, for the game we're going to talk about tonight, I was unable to finish it. And I really, really, like, I'll tell you about it later, but I really loved this game. So it hurt me not to be able to play it the past few days.
And honestly, like, and I was thinking about that because, to be honest with you, I didn't really finish the game either. I was only on, like, Chapter 4. What's nice about our format is we very rarely go into spoilers.
Yeah.
We give you the basis of the story, and then we kind of talk about the elements of the game in hopes that it would interest you guys enough to go play it. So I don't think it was really necessary to really finish this game, even though it would have been nice. We probably would have been able to see some of these beautifully grotesque monsters if we were to continue, but I did some research into the game to where we can kind of talk about it. So without further ado, since we don't have LGP, let's get into it. So, Ghostwire Tokyo is developed by Tango Gameworks and released in 2022. You can generally beat this in about 12 hours or longer if you do all the side missions and activities. And this is only available right now for PC and PlayStation, although an Xbox release is coming out pretty soon. This was a timed exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it was a it was a PS4 version or if it was just PC, PS5.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I couldn't remember either. What this game is, it is a first-person open world that takes place in Tokyo, Japan. You assume the role as how do they say it? How do you say his name?
Akita?
Akita?
I think. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember his name, honestly. I
did you play it with the subs or dub?
Subs.
Same here. But anyway, you play as Akita, who is possessed by a spirit nicknamed KK after an accident. And then a massive fog descends, basically rapturing everyone in the area. All that's left is their clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And a man in a is it
Hania?
Hania? Thank you. This is why I have you when it comes to this shit.
Don't have me.
But a man in a Hania mask appears on the screens of Tokyo and summons spirits that are called visitors. And it's up to KK and Akita to stop the man and save Akita's sister.
Yeah.
Which I actually totally forgot he had a sister until about halfway through the story.
Really? She's kind of like the main part.
I don't know. Like I'll admit, like I started this game when it came out. I bought this game day one, and I played it, and I was like, wait a minute, I want to see how long this game is because I want to play this game for the show. And when we got the new format to where we're playing games longer than 10 hours, I figured this would be perfect.
Yeah.
And honestly, this game is not really a horror game, so this is kind of a weird one for the spooky season. But I think the monsters in this game, which we will get into, are really kind of creepy enough to kind of warrant this as kind of a good Halloween game.
There's a few jump scare moments, too.
Oh, yeah, there are. And so the world of this game is absolutely stunning.
Oh, yeah.
Playing this game on my 55-inch QLED TV, now that I have a decent HDMI cable that is fast enough to have VRR, I was playing this game for a while just on quality mode, and the ray tracing and how like the neon lights of the city reflect off the puddles after a rain is absolutely gorgeous. This is a really good looking game.
Oh, yeah.
And the city, even though there's no living beings in it, it feels alive because there are stores like playing tunes on the outside. There are bars where if you get near, you can hear the dance music play, and there's still car alarms going off. This city is completely deserted, but it feels alive. It feels like everyone was plucked out in the moment. It's amazing.
And it's not quite deserted, though.
It is not.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that if I know what you're talking about. Because it's an open world, it kind of has your almost your Ubisoft open world elements, although not as bad, because this is a smaller open world than like a Ubisoft or an Assassin's Creed or a Horizon Zero Dawn world. And I think that works to its advantage, because even though you do reveal parts of the map with Torii gates, kind of like radio towers in Far Cry, that's really the only like Ubisoft-y thing in that game.
Yeah. You got to get this open world formula of you have a map that can be expanded more and more by, as you said, the Torii gates. It's kind of blocked by this fog that damages you if you go into it until you do the Torii gates.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, you can also engage in different side missions. There are various collectibles in the world, and there are spirits to save as well. So there's a lot of things going on in the world, and honestly, I think it would be easy to put 20 plus hours into this game.
Oh yeah.
If you just engaged with all the things around you all the time. Like, there's just constantly stuff to do.
And see, that's the thing. What I think what separates this game from again these larger open world games is because when it comes to those big AAA open world games, there is almost too much to do, and all these activities you can do in these larger open world games. A lot of the activities are pretty mundane. It's like, oh, here, take this message to this one person, and that's it.
Yeah.
Or upload this file data, follow this one person, kill X amount of things, a lot of bloat, and they don't really mean anything. Most of the side missions in this game have meaning, and a lot of them are really memorable.
Yeah, they're fascinating. I remember one that I told you about. If you don't care if I share it on here,
No,
but
cool.
The one that really got me was the Hoarder mission. I just really liked that one because I thought of it as an interesting like kind of metaphor. So you talk to this spirit outside this building. You go into this building, you find this hoarder's house. So there's trash and garbage stacked up everywhere in this house, and you find this basically spiritual black hole, which is what this hoarder's spirit became. And it's interesting that you would, a black hole sucks up everything around it, and a hoarder collects everything around it, regardless of if it's something of value. They're collecting trash even. And I was like, wow, that's really an interesting metaphor, And I think it kind of describes in a way like how the whole game works. I think a lot of the enemies in this game are metaphors for other things, you know?
And that's a really good way to put it, or that's really poignant. One side mission that kind of stuck out to me, I don't know if you ran into it. It was a spirit that asked me like why people kept leaving his business. He said to me like all my workers keep leaving my business, and you have to kind of go in and you have to like you would like find like texts that workers share about the work environment, or like these notes that people leave, and you would come to realize that even though the small business owner had good intentions, he heavily micromanaged, and that drew a lot of people away. And you tell him that, and he's like, okay, I know what to change now to be better. And see, that's what's nice, is like you resolve these problems that these spirits have so they can move on.
Yes. What's interesting is you're accomplishing what would on paper be very mundane things, right? But the way you accomplish them and the satisfaction you get from accomplishing them makes it feel less mundane, if that makes sense.
And that's, if I had to choose between a huge open world and a smaller one, if a smaller open world gives me like more engaging side quests and activities, I will take that any day.
Mm-hmm.
I like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I really do.
Yeah.
But I can't name a single side mission that's memorable in that.
Yeah.
So let's move on to combat real fast. Since combat is the majority of this game, and the combat in this is unique in a way to where you don't have like your typical weapons of a first-person open-world game. You don't have guns in this. You have magic abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And each of these magic abilities, they kind of substitute a common weapon in your typical first-person shooters. So you have wind, which is like your semi-automatic weapon.
Yeah, you cast like a green ball of energy at them with that one.
And every single one of these can be charged, by the way, for a more powerful attack.
And they can be upgraded for like rapid fire or, a
more powerful charge attack.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have water, which is more of a wide attack. That's basically your shotgun.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, when you upgrade that all the way to where you can like cast a super wide attack,
it's good when you're getting surrounded.
Oh, it is great. And third, you have a flame ability, which is basically your rocket launcher.
That's my favorite one.
Oh,
it's on basic enemies. It's like a one-shot kill.
Oh yeah. And aside from that, you have just a bow and arrow, which is basically your stealth and long range weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Headshots will kill most of the time,
and
it actually stuns enemies really well.
Yeah.
And then you have these things called talismans, and each talisman kind of has a different ability to kind of cater to your preferred play style. If you want to play more stealthy, there's talismans to where you can like create like these spirit bushes or create noises.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also more offensive talismans like the stun, which is like a ball of electricity that anyone within the range gets stunned for a good amount of time. And that's a long time too.
There's a mission that I had to rely on that a lot that I'll talk about here in a bit.
Did you manage to fight the first boss at all?
The first boss being when you lose your partner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I know what you mean, but we'll get to that. I wasn't so there's one more. There's another ability in this called, as you get later too, is where you and KK would be like in tune.
Yes.
And this is basically like your rage mode.
Your insta-kill mode.
Yes. And which is always really good. And this thing fills up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I always forget about it is the problem.
Me too.
That's my thing.
Me too. And there's also a block ability too. And you can have a perfect block to where if you hit the block button just at the right time, you won't take any damage, and you'll stun the enemy for a few seconds.
Yes.
Depending. I wasn't so sure about this combat system at first. I felt like the wind ability really was underpowered. But as I played more, I stopped being, quote, conservative with it. I was trying to like place my shots like strategically, but then I realized, you know what, fuck it, and just started like flinging it. I had a lot more fun.
Though I will say, the further you get in the game, I'm about 6 hours in to this game.
That's about right for me.
And I'd say the further you get in the game, you do have to act a little bit more conservative with your stuff, because you'll run out of energy or you'll run out of ammo for your bow and arrow, which I don't actually have a bow and arrow. I have a kunai in mine.
Interesting.
So there's a DLC you can get that puts you in a ninja outfit, and you have a kunai instead of a bow and arrow.
Oh, that's cool. I see.
It's not just a cosmetic thing. It's actually like you
That's
throw a little...
really cool.
So I have that. But I thought the combat in this was kind of fascinating in a way, because in a sense, it takes several hits with your basic ability, which is your wind ability. It takes several really good hits to knock them out, and the enemies themselves can do a considerable amount of damage to you. Like, if they hit you, like 2 or 3 hits can take you down.
It's punishing. But
I never felt intimidated by the combat. I never felt like, oh shit, I just got into an engagement, I'm gonna die. Right? I haven't died once in the game yet.
I've died a few times, but
the combat's good though. Like
it's
fair enough where you can do some pretty cool maneuvers with them, especially if you upgrade your abilities where taking down an enemy regens your health. That's a really good one. And the ability to like sneak up and like pull out their core. I know we haven't talked about the core ability yet, but you can sneak up and basically assassinate them in this game, which is really cool.
So yeah, I was gonna say something. You mentioned something and I can't remember.
The core.
No. I remember what it was now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the combat is approachable enough because this being an open world game, you have an inventory. You pick up food throughout the world, and some of it is like nether food that will grant you certain abilities.
Yes.
And consuming this food is very quick. You don't have to hit the gamepad, go to the menu, select a food, and eat it. You can if you want. You can play this like Skyrim if you want, but all it really you need to do is just press triangle, and you'll consume the food that's basically next to your inventory, and different foods will refill your health at different amounts. And I think this was a really good idea because it keeps the flow of combat going. It's very Dark Souls-esque in a way, to where if you're fighting something and you're losing, you can kind of consume something to kind of turn the tide a little bit more in your favor.
Yeah, and for the boss fights, you do kind of almost have to approach them like a Dark Souls. You have to block when you got to block. You got to jump out of the way when you can't block a certain attack. You have to avoid their hits, because in those boss fights, it's almost a one-shot kill. It'll take like 75% or more of your health if you get hit once.
The first main boss that you fight, when you approach the main antagonist, the one that kind of turns into the cat, that one was tough. But
I will say, on like the normal, I've been playing on normal difficulty, and I would say the resources seem not overabundant, but just enough. Right? I feel like I have just enough money to buy the things I want. I have just enough skill points to upgrade myself. Just enough items to heal myself. Like it's right. It's a good amount.
And the places where you can buy these things are very, very abundant. This is right smack dab in the middle of Tokyo, so there are stores everywhere.
And I don't even feel like I have to buy anything. There's enough stuff. If you pay enough attention, there's enough stuff to pick up around the town to keep you satisfied.
But I'd say there's a good enough reason to go into the store, and you and I both know. Something we forgot to mention about this open world, but the merchants, they're fucking cats.
Oh yeah.
And it is adorable.
It's great. So there, in this world, there are these just regular cats and regular dogs. The cats, they kind of, you can read their mind and you can get some kind of insights on the area. The dogs, however, you can feed them and they will lead you to either mission items or loads of money, which is great. And then in the world there are a lot of yokai. So there are some yokai like cat merchants. There are tanukis that will disguise themselves as objects with a little tanuki tail. Or there are these flying ones that you can grapple onto and get to higher areas. And there's a handful of others. I'm just slipping my mind right now, but
a lot of passive yokai.
Yeah, they're not gonna like attack you. And there was one too that disguised himself as like a wall or something that you had to uncover him.
There's a couple of those throughout the world.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, and I love how it combines like the modern Japan aesthetic with these classic Japanese mythology.
Yes,
it's such a good blend. It feels really, really nice. So you have like this old world kind of spiritual mythological world just contrasting with this very realistic modern Japan.
It is such a unique game, and I just want to keep I want to go home and keep playing this game.
It is just oozing with like this wondrous vibe. Like I don't even know how to put it. It's just a fun world to be in.
It really is. And the stars of the show of this game, and we're going to talk about it, are the enemies, called visitors. And what makes this so cool is that, as I said before, every single one of these visitors are beautifully designed. They are so creative.
Very creepy.
And yeah, very, very creepy. And every single one of them has a backstory and a reason for them to be in the world. Because kind of the thing about this story is that this fog that descends on Japan, they feed off negative energy. And the visitors are they are manifested by the negative emotions of just the citizens of the city. And this game has like Halo-esque enemy types. So you have your grunt enemies that are easy to deal with, and you have your tougher enemies, and you have like even tougher enemies than that. So,
and it seems like, at least to me, so I had a friend who also played this game, and their complaint was there wasn't a good variety of enemies. But I strongly disagree.
I would disagree with that too.
Every single mission, I feel like I'm encountering different enemies.
And it's interesting because, like, we'll talk about one specifically called Rainwalkers. They're basically coded as businessmen, and there are variants of them. And each variant has like a different ability, and you need to be able to approach it in a different way. For one thing, if you play this game and you run into these enemies, for the love of God, take the time to read the codex of these enemies, because the backstory of these enemies are so cool. Your very basic vanilla Rainwalker, the reason why that was manifested is because it feeded off the energy of businessmen who basically worked at black companies. And it took a toll on them. And there's a woman variant that is basically the same thing, only they have a machete. And then you have basically the zealot-esque hunter type, which is a much more obese looking being. And the reason why they were there is because they were basically like abusive to the bosses, and they were verbally abusive to their workers, and that's how they manifested. And
they'll use their umbrellas as a shield.
And then you have the students, who are manifested by the stress and anxiety of their future.
Yeah, you'll have like a little girls, and it seems like you have like a teenage girls and teenage boys.
It's mostly teenage girls and boys, and each one of them have different attacks. The boys are far more aggressive than the girls.
Yeah, the girls will also use like casting abilities on you too,
and they are pretty easy to take down. So they're basically like the grunts.
Yeah, but there's the little girls with the raincoats.
Yes, they are invincible, but at least from what I played. But what they do is if they see you, they will call, like do like a call, and enemies will appear and you have to fight them.
What enemy was it that made the rain go the opposite direction?
Let me check my notes here. They were called, I think, shrine dancers.
Okay. Yes. That makes sense because you've seen Weathering with You.
Yeah.
There's this thing where you have these what do they call them? Little dolls that they make that are supposed to bring the rain. And
I think it says like the wiki says shrine dancers are based on the Turu Turu Bozu.
mm-hmm.
Is that what you're referring to?
I think it is, yes. So basically, instead of bringing the rain, this makes the rain go upwards. Kind of like, have you seen Now You See Me 2? I think
I have not seen. I've only seen the first one.
There's a magic act where they make the rain go upwards, basically, and so it's very much like that. And it threw me off when that happened.
It was,
I was
bizarre
like,
the first time I ran into it. It was like I thought the game was glitching out on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought there was like a visual glitch or something, but no. Then this thing just starts like descends from the air. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
The ones that really like freaked me out was the girl, the woman who's kind of like a taller woman who has the big scissors,
Yep.
the big shears.
That is also based off a Japanese urban legend. I'm gonna butcher this name here. Kuchisake, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
It's coded as a mini boss, and I think they usually hang around like more urban, suburban, or suburban environments.
Mm-hmm.
And the name translates to slit mouth woman.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones I try to avoid the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are very intimidating.
They're tough to take down too.
Mm-hmm. There's also a crimson variant as well, which is a far more intimidating looking and a lot more difficult to deal with.
There was one I fought that was incredibly creepy. It was like floating in the sky for a while, and then I knocked it down, and it started crawling at me really fast.
That was the next one I was gonna talk about. That's in the game. It's called a lamentation.
Okay.
But it's based off the Japanese urban legend called Tiki Tiki.
Ooh.
Do you know about that one?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
Which translates to skitter skitter.
Oh, yeah. It's an onomatopoeia.
And I'm gonna give you the Spark Notes version. My wife can kind of give you a much better telling of the story, but it's basically the urban legend is that there is a woman that was abandoned by her lover at the train station, and she was ran over by a train, and so she lost her legs.
Mm-hmm.
The urban legend goes that if you were to go, and I might completely butcher this, so please forgive me if I get this wrong, but I believe the legend goes where if you go to a train station at night, you can like hear her, and she's looking for legs.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if like this is. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more creative liberties were taken in this monster design,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that she is like she walks on her hands.
Yeah, it's creepy as hell.
And
she's fast too.
I am completely speechless right now because just thinking about these monsters, it's like this is by far some of the most creative monster designs I've seen in a video game in a long time.
Yeah. The fact that we've spent this long talking about all these different types of monsters and their different backstories genuinely speaks to the fact that there is a lot of variety in the things that you fight, and they all fight differently. Mm-hmm. Yes, you dispatch them with the same arsenal of weapons, but you have to use different techniques on them, and what kills one immediately, doesn't knock the other one out right away.
Mm-hmm. And every single one of these enemies, because we almost forgot about it, every single one of these enemies, what keeps them bound to this world is a core.
Mm-hmm.
And to add on to this wonderful, like graphically incredible game, is that as you fight these enemies, like their corporeal being starts kind of fading away, and their core becomes exposed.
Yes.
And then you can grab the core by using magic to rip it, to literally, like, viscerally rip it out of them.
Yes.
You almost like have this like this this twine, like this ethereal twine that you get from KK to where you can rip it out at a distance.
Yes, and you can increase that range too. And actually, you can rip multiple out at the exact same time if you have multiple enemies.
So satisfying to do, because thanks to like the DualSense controller, you can feel the weight that your main character is putting behind pulling these cores out, and especially with the adaptive triggers, to where like you can feel like it. You can feel everything.
Yeah, it's great. And the interesting thing is, so we've mentioned all these abilities, right? But what I think was the scariest mission in the game, at least for me, was there's a mission where you get separated from KK.
Yes.
And all of your powers go bye-bye. So you are essentially powerless in this world full of dangerous things. And that was when it was actually scary. When you had to avoid as much as you could.
The only thing you have, because you get separated from KK a couple times in this game. The only thing you have are your talismans and your bow. And that's it.
And if you were dumb like me, the mission right before you lose KK, you used all your fucking arrows.
Good job.
Oh, it was hell. It was hell for me. I was literally just like my way of handling it, because there was some
Are you talking
scissors.
about the boss fight or the first time you lose him?
The first time you lose
Okay,
him.
gotcha.
Comes after the boss fight. You lose him after the first boss fight.
I guess I guess I'm thinking of another boss fight then.
Well, one of the masked characters is a boss fight.
Yeah, but early on in the game, where you like go into like the old abandoned building to like try to find, I think her name's like Riku or something. You lose him for a while as well.
Yeah,
That was early on in the game. There was no bosses in that. You just had to sneak your way past your basic mobs.
But there was one of them where I lost KK, didn't have any arrows because I'd used them all in the previous encounter, and so I just had talismans. And there was a bunch of like scissor women around. There was a bunch of the people with the umbrellas that like. I was like, oh my God. Like, and so I'm sneaking around all of them, and then all of a sudden, like, all the scissor women saw me, and I was like, shit, I'm just throwing talisman, and I'm just booking it. Just throwing them, booking it, because you can't, it's not even worth taking them down, because if you pull their core out, which you could sneak up on them and do even without KK, you can't collect the experience and energy from them.
Right.
So it's not even worth it. But another thing that's really like fun about this game that we haven't mentioned yet is, so we mentioned all the characters have been spirited away, right?
Right.
That you can save them.
We touched base on it just a little bit,
but we didn't go into a lot of detail.
No, we didn't, and that's kind of, and I put that in the notes. I might have just accidentally glossed over it, but I'll let you explain it.
So in this game, you pick up these little paper totems. I don't know what they called them exactly.
The name leaves me.
It doesn't really necessarily matter. They're these little paper dolls. And around the town, you will find these clumps of spirits together. And they can sometimes just be clumps, or they can be clumps that have been, I don't know what you want to call it. Like, they have like a piece of rebar through them, or they've got like a pillar through them. And the ones that don't have anything through them, you can go up and collect them in your little paper doll, and then you can take them to these phone booths, and this person,
it's one of KK's contacts when he was alive.
He will hold on to those spirits, and with the assumption that you can eventually return them to their bodies, right? And there's also ones where you have to remove like the piece of rebar or something for them, so you have to do like this what do you want to call it, like a hex or something on it.
It's like you have to do like a hand pattern of some kind, and you have to utilize the pad to do it, or you can just let KK do it. It's generous if you're not good at it.
I tend to let KK do it if I'm in a hurry. Like if I'm just running through the town collecting up spirits and I hit one of those ones where it's got something in it, I'm just like, KK, get rid of that, and I'll just take it.
And there's a lot of spirits. Like there's like 200,000 spirits.
Yeah.
In this, and that seems intimidating. But once you understand, like when you collect spirits, you'll collect like hundreds at a time.
Yeah, I think I've caught maybe like.
I'm like at 40, 50,000.
I'm trying to remember how many. I know it sounds like a lot, but then you realize how many there are, and you're like, well, shit, it's not really a ton.
and you collect spirits by doing side missions too. You'll collect thousands of spirits.
Yeah. And you get XP for turning them
in. You get a lot of money and a lot of XP by doing this.
And I like how you can upgrade pretty much anything about your character, like every detail of them, be it your combat, your ways you take in health, the ways you take in money. You can, upgrade everything.
You can basically almost make a build if you want. If you want to make a more magic centric build, then you can. If you want to be more stealthy and use your bow, you can do that. And so
I'm doing balanced. I'm doing
Me too.
upgrade one thing, next one, the next one, next one.
So, I have a quick question to ask you. Since you're more familiar with voice acting and subs, how'd you feel the voice acting was in this?
I thought it was really good from what I could tell. It almost felt like in some ways you're watching an anime.
Okay.
That's kind of how I felt about it. And if they ever decided to make an anime adaptation
I'm 100%
of this,
behind this.
I could see it happening because, I don't know if we were going to bring this up, but there is a prequel visual novel that is free for this.
Yeah.
Yes. And, you already have 2D versions of, this world. So, boom, make it into an anime if you want. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
Netflix, pick it up.
Maybe.
They've been funding some, a lot of game-related stuff lately, so maybe.
I wasn't too crazy about the Dragon's Dogma anime. I guess I just got my hopes up a little bit too high. But
I think people liked the Castlevania one.
I haven't seen the Castlevania one, but I wasn't sure because I started doing the dub just to kind of get an idea. The voice acting for the dub is not good.
I didn't really see much of a need for it, honestly. As long as you can read there's not a ton of dialogue in the game, but there's a good amount, but you can still read the subs.
Yeah. The one thing that threw me off when it came to the dub is it kind of fell into that issue that old anime dubs used to be, which I don't think it's as big of a problem now, where you can clearly tell that the actors were not close to each other. They were in separate rooms, and they had to kind of guess how the one character was gonna say it. And especially when it came to eating something in the sub, it sounded pretty natural,
Yeah.
when he was eating something, but in the dub, it was very obvious,
Yeah.
It was very cringy.
Why would they do that?
I don't know, but the choices with the dub was not very good.
Huh. Yeah. I will give this game probably the best praise I could give a game this year.
This is definitely I don't even remember if this game got that much marketing.
It didn't get a lot of marketing. It didn't get a lot of praise, and it got, I don't want to say middling reviews, but lower than I expected it would.
It got favorable reviews according to Wikipedia. It got an average of 7s or 8s out of 10s.
Yeah.
Which I think it's underrated. I would say this is a high 8 to a low 9 for me.
I would give it a
me.
9. Usually I wait till the end to give it a score. I'd give it a 9, but what I really wanted to say is this is one of the games this year that very few games have left me where I wake up the next day and I go to work and I'm like, damn, I really want to play that game. I really want to play that game. And I swear to you, if I was not dealing with, trying to get a car fixed / replaced this week, I almost certainly would have spent every free moment I had playing this game, because literally after work for the first few days this week, I was just like, all right, hop in the game, like right after work. As soon as I was done eating dinner, I was just like, into the game I go.
I remember you texted me saying like, bro, I really just want to play this game right now.
I love it. I love the world. And I'll tell you this. I told my wife this too. I was like, I wish I had more free time, because if I had a ton more free time, I think I would just sit down and just put like 30 hours into this game. Like I would probably just do all the side missions. I want to do the side missions, and I would have done more of them, but I knew when I was playing this, I was like, I only have so much time this week, and if I start doing the side missions, I'm only going to get like a quarter of the way through this game.
That's exactly how I was too, because as I said before, all these side missions are actually really well thought out.
Yeah. They make you want to do them.
They're not time wasters.
And, like, the way the game is structured, they place the missions in such a way where if you're on the way to the main mission, you encounter at least 1 to 2 of them on the way. So you could just be hitting them on the way.
Yeah.
Which I love. And the way I used to play, we've mentioned Skyrim before, so I'll use it as an example. Like, I used to play Skyrim way back when I was, in college and I had a little bit more free time in life. I would just, on the way to every main mission, I would hit every side mission that was on the way to it. And that's just how I would just do it. Be like, oh, yes, keep myself busy along the way to the core missions. And I really want to play that game, or this game, that way, you know?
Mm-hmm. So,
such a good game.
It is a really good game, and I think it's one of my favorite games I've played this year.
Absolutely.
And I think this is, like, especially when we get to the end of the year to where, a little spoiler warning here, when we get to the end of the year to where we kind of want to do our favorite games we played this year, this is definitely going to be maybe in the top 5.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And I know we have another game to play for next week, and we'll get to that, but I think I want to try to wrap this game up this weekend if I can. I know that unfortunately you can't because you'll be out of town unless you plan to bring your PS5 with you.
No.
But I think I'm going to try to knock it out this weekend and play it a bunch more, at least the main missions, because I'm going to feel bummed if I can't play more of it.
The nice thing is, and this game doesn't have a lot of chapters. There's just a lot of missions.
There's like, what, 7 or 8 chapters?
Yeah, there's like, I think 6 in total.
Okay.
But a lot of like sub chapters that make the length of that chapter. Which the second chapter is the longest.
Yeah.
I did some research, and the second chapter is the longest.
I texted you that, and I was like, man, this level's going on forever.
You're right. And from what I read is that once you beat the game, it puts you back to basically where you were in chapter 4, where everything is basically unlocked, or you're able to unlock it. And there you can like complete side missions, do activities, and do stuff like that.
Okay.
So I would really love DLC for this game. I want more enemies to fight. I want to explore this world more. Just like I don't know what they would do for DLC.
I don't know, but as someone who likes lore, I think you're going to like the visual novel, because it's bound to be packed with additional information about this world.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much said all we need to say about this game.
Yeah.
Other than like I wholeheartedly recommend this game. If you have a PS5 or a PC that can run this game, or an Xbox, wait till next year. I don't know when it'll come out next year for Xbox, but definitely pick this up.
Yes.
Especially
don't sleep on this one like most people did.
Yeah, it's like this game is a hidden gem.
Yeah, especially if you love like Japanese folklore.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of funny because last week we played a game that was based off of British and Welsh folklore. Now we're playing another game that has to do with folklore.
Yeah, a totally different kind of folklore.
Yeah, he's more. Yeah, but next week we'll be talking about, I believe it was Mega Man 11.
Yes.
Yes,
the most recent Mega Man.
Really interesting. Which you have 2 copies of.
Yes, I do.
Because I'm poor right now.
Yes, I found it last night. You're actually not playing Mega Man 11 though.
I'm not.
You're playing Rockman 11. which in Japan it's called Rockman.
Interesting.
I bought a box set. Oh gosh, 2-3 years ago, from Japan, with all of the Mega Man games in it, which was really cool, and it was the only way you could get all of them that way. But it came with a copy of Mega Man 11, and I had already bought that because the US version you could buy included an amiibo. So I was like,
Interesting.
So yeah,
This would be my first Mega Man game, though.
really, you grew up with PlayStation, right?
I did, but when it came to PlayStation, is my family didn't have a lot of money, really, and so the only time I would get games would be for like around Christmas time or my birthday. And what games would usually come out around Christmas time or birthday? The Tony Hawk games. Okay. And I loved the Tony Hawk games. So I never really got a chance to play these more iconic games, like much like when we talked about Spyro. Spyro was the first time I ever played Spyro, because my kid brain was not exposed to games like that.
Okay.
The only time I was exposed to Spyro would be the Pizza Hut demo disc.
Okay.
And then I guess the only PlayStation first party game we had was the second Crash Bandicoot, and Tomba. My sister played Tomba.
Okay. Mega Man 8 on PS1 was not only my first Mega Man game that I ever played, but it was one of the first quote unquote new games I ever got that was not a hand-me-down or a used game I found somewhere.
Wow, so that game's probably really special to you.
Yeah, I loved Mega Man 8. I played so much of that. I feel like the music for it and the characters were very iconic, and so I'm hoping that Mega Man 11 kind of makes me feel the way that did when I played that back in the day. So it'd be fun to play. If
we were to do any kind of PlayStation 1 game, and I know we've talked about this several times, we have to try to do Rugrats: The Search for Reptar. That's another game that I had that I have a lot of fond memories for, and I want to be able to see if I still enjoy that game, or if like the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia are kind of making that game better than it really was.
It's probably a little bit of both, like, because I remember that game very vividly. I played a ton of it. And because I remember it so clearly, I remember how bad it looked.
Oh, it did. It looked horrible. It looked horrible, even for the time.
And it was very clunky. And the music, I will say, though it was very reminiscent of the show, it got a little grating at points because it kind of repeated a lot.
I know it's off topic, but right now I'm just trying to fill the time that we had where we spent basically 30 minutes talking about things that you won't hear about. There's a mission that I found really memorable. There's two. The one where they were playing hide and seek, where you had to look for the babies, and you had to race them to the playpen.
Yeah.
And to basically get ahead of them, you would, especially if they're hiding upstairs, you would jump down the entire stairs, and you wouldn't break your little baby legs.
Remember wasn't there like a supermarket one?
Yeah, there was a supermarket one.
I remember that one. There's a mini golf one, right?
That one was fun.
I like the mini golf one.
There was one that scared me as a kid, and that's when, because this little mini SuperClash episode, all the levels in this Rugrats Search for Reptar are based off episodes of the show, and one episode in particular is when the power goes out and you have to try to find the light in the fridge. Well, there were shadow monsters in that game where we had to use a flashlight to shine them. And me as a 5-year-old thought that thing was the scariest fucking thing ever. I couldn't play it. I had to have my sister play that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember, wasn't there one where like a giant animatronic monkey is after you?
That was the one where we were locked in the toy store. Wow. I remember this game way better than I thought.
I told you, man. It's pretty vivid in my head. Like, I can't remember very like what the reasoning behind any of the missions was, but I remember the levels. Like I can picture them clearly in my head.
The Mr. Powell or whatever. Like
yes.
Oh God.
Yes. Ugh. But it had a lot of charm to it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of charm that I think the original cartoon had. And
Yeah.
so that's why it has a warm feeling in my heart, because that was one of my favorite shows as a kid, was Rugrats.
Oh, like I think everyone was a Rugrats kid growing up in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. All the early Nick shows were just hidden gems. It was truly the animation renaissance.
It was. Because at the time you had Rugrats, you had Hey Arnold, you had early SpongeBob, Doug, Cat Dog, which I don't think Cat Dog has aged as well as the other shows.
And Angry Beavers.
Angry Beavers. And then on the Cartoon Network side, you had Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, the Powerpuff Girls.
Courage.
Courage. Courage is one show I didn't really watch as a kid.
I love Courage.
But that's something I would want to go back as an adult and watch.
Yeah. Oh, we're just talking about games that we love, but... shows, I guess,
and
now.
And shows. And it's our show. We can talk about what we want.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope that people who listen to our show kind of like the same things we do.
Yeah, I think when I asked people online, like, what is your age group? I think most people fell into our age group. So I was like, okay, that checks out.
Yeah. So, but this might be a bit shorter of an episode because, again, I don't know how much there will be. Once I cut out the shit you're not gonna hear.
Can't hear any of that. It got really dark.
It got very dark.
Not us doing anything dark. Well, Kale did some dark things.
Maybe. Okay, I might have sacrificed a goat. Okay.
Yeah, but that's fine.
That's just don't
everyday witchcraft.
Yeah, absolutely. But either way, I hope what you listened to was enjoyable. And if you like the show, like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with our episodes. Or if you don't like the show, tell your friends. Maybe they'll like it. We also have a merch store, which we will link in the description. I think that'll basically about do it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
See ya.